Hello everyone, welcome back to Bakery Restart. I'm Brad, and today we're taking a look at the new characters Ninfoniel and Batsby. We will start off with Ninfoniel, who is the character I'm personally most excited about to play, but I think Batsby is gonna be an incredible character for Cleve. And that makes me even more excited actually. So look forward to that. So, going into Nin, she has some issues with her kit. There's no cleanse, and this makes her best paired with units that don't require her to save them from CC, but she can help them out a lot. Her base cooldowns are long, but the skills have some very big impacts. Like her skill 3 has double 40% attack boost, which is insane. And 1 turn immunity on whole team and 2 turns on your most important unit. That's very strong. Her skill 2, equalizing and then healing for a whole 25% of the target's max HP. We'll get into why that's important later. But I think she has some serious potential. Her base stats are actually very solid. This is like Ling Luo tiers of tankiness, and everybody knows that Ling Luo is fucking annoying to kill. But she's very clearly a support, like there's no damage here or anything like that, right? Her base speed is notably not bad at all. And also in the same ballpark as Ling Luo there. And I think there's gonna be quite a few different build options to test for her, because I can see her used in a lot of different situations in a lot of different ways. Let's look at the ones that I think are most likely to be good. I think for general purpose, Supernova with Bulwark and some effect resistance in the lanes of Fushu's right now seems really good. On the other hand, compared to Fushu, you will want to be as fast as possible, because Supernova will make her skill 2 have a massive impact where it equalizes, then heals up, and if everybody's below 70%, everybody gets healing over time, and the heal itself is bigger because of the Supernova. So if you have Evil Guard on top of that or something, and then it'll be really hard to stop her from going and equalizing everything. And that should be very good to fight Cleve. But it also lasts for 2 turns, so you can, if you don't need it yet, put up the shield from skill 3. Big attack boost your Viper or Born or something like that. And then the next turn around equalize after enough damage has been done to you. So that seems really strong, and getting that healing over time and actually making her skill 2 a more actual like Ling Luo heal or Sanya heal seems very strong. Then there's the more options where you go to fight in the tank mirror, or like longer fights where you go Halloween, because as mentioned, her skills are very high impact, and if you reset those cooldowns more often, then that's strong, right? That's pretty obvious. And you would probably go something similar on there, like Bloodbath Bulwark. But then if it turns out that you don't really need the Bulwark as much on her, although I think that might just be the case, then you could go an option like Gigabyte with Bloodbath Strive, and that could be very, very impactful for longer fights, and also for cutting in early. If she, for example, resists some CC right before the cleaver goes, she comes in, puts up a fat shield and all that. I think that can be very strong. So that will require a bunch of testing. But if you're looking at running the no Bulwark option, then I feel like it's more likely to be Alicorn with either full HP or a bit of resistance, because I think res is going to be an important stat on this character if you want to build her for turn 2 in general. Her skill 1, when she has 2 turns of downtime due to the 4 turn cooldowns, res up for 2 turns. That's pretty impactful. If you're starting at 200% and then you get 80% more res, then suddenly you're very hard to CC. I'm definitely toying around with a little Bramble build, but I don't think that's gonna catch on. But it seems fun to randomly proc Bramble, have big res, and go from there. Funnily enough, I think she's actually gonna be a really impactful character for Cleve as well, because the double attack buff is a lot. 40% and another 40%. And the fact that she provides 3 buffs is very relevant for somebody like Freya. So if you pair her with Freya and then you have a decently fast Yelly or something, then you can just skill 2 on Freya to push you up a bunch. Then use the skill 3 for 3 buffs to push up even more, have 80% increased attack, and just let loose with your big DPS unit. And I mean, this is similar to Beyontin in some ways. Beyontin's already showing that she's a very powerful cleave unit, not just for her skill 3 but her skill 2 mainly, but still, a big attack buff like this is definitely gonna be valuable. And providing a bit of sustain in longer fights, when you don't manage to kill everything immediately, can actually be very valuable. This you can see when you play, for example, CC with cleave, and then your cleave option gets killed, and you're like 3 CC units into 2 defenders, and you just can't do enough damage before they whittle you down with their attacks. And now if you have a bit of healing and an attack buff and all that, I think she's gonna have some good impact, for sure. And then you would obviously just run her speed and bulwark to get more push from Freya and all that. She seems to be working very well with characters like Viper, Born, and Hoyan for turn 2. All these characters can use attack buffs very well, and a double one? Holy, Count Hoyan now with a double attack buff, helping provide immunity from this character. For example, if they have a stripper, and then you reapply the immunity, and now you have double attack buff. Damn, that's gonna hurt. With DPS Viper becoming such a staple pick in high rank PvP lately, I think she will see even more utility there, as it's obviously insane to give him 80% more attack. Why not just have a healer and attack buffer and shielder, and you're running like Lilium, Viper, Born, Hoyan, all these things. That seems very good, and a new option for bruisers that didn't exist before. So I'm very excited for that. And she doesn't seem like she's a clear power creep overall. Just has a lot of new options that we didn't have before, so I'm very excited for Nin. Moving on to Batsby, my guy. He has me excited for cleave players. He has some crazy numbers in his skill 3 and skill 2. So you might not see it at first. Seeing 319 is like, oh, that's just barely above Messiah and Yelly, whatever. They're providing like defense down or ignoring defense, but then you see the part where he gains 20% turn meter with each crit landed, and you're assuming he's always gonna crit. And then suddenly, if you set it up, you can have 720% AoE damage, which is higher than anybody in the game right now. So he has vulnerable with 100% hit rate, but it's only 1 hit, so it's a bit iffy there. I wouldn't rely on it and count it in with the damage. But he's probably gonna be the unit that is best with defense downs in the game right now, for example. Or takes best advantage of just general buffs and debuffs in that way. Because his baseline is so high. So he won't do the most when it's just him, but if you pair him in with like a Freya plus Hein plus Yelly comp or something, and then you can do a double cleave suddenly. Because the big issue for cleave before this was that there wasn't really enough cleave units to reliably pick 2 cleavers not in protected slot and be fine with either of them going through, or both. And now with Batsby being, to me, what looks like a very good cleave option, I think that they'll let you lock Hein or Obol or one of those super impactful units for the matchups. And then you'll do something like Freya, Yelly, Hein, Batsby, Obol, something like that. Or even like a Nahor as well, looks like an incredible unit with Batsby. Nahor has been like a sleeper pick for a while now, I think. He just requires a bunch of lattices, but I think he's actually really strong for CC cleave specifically. There's like a few options of cleave right now, and it's CC cleave, where you're looking to do some picks like I mentioned, where you pick like your Obos, maybe a Casio, and you're fine with doing no or less damage than just playing CC, but you can speed it up with a Yelly or a Messiah to just win on the spot. Then there's the pusher cleaves, where you go Tsukiyomi, pushes a Messiah, and then Beyontin pushes Messiah again to do the double cleaves and just win on the spot, and that's the more pure cleave situation. It's a bit more gimmicky, I think it's easier to counter that. But then there's also the Rev cleave that does still exist, even though a lot worse since nerfed last patch. Young has hit top 20 again, playing basically the same thing. And obviously I think that speaks to him just being a good player, since not many others seem to have success with it. But I think that with just a slight buff, it's going to be a very viable option. So I'm very excited to see Batsby becoming a unit for both CC cleave and the hard cleave. And that should provide a lot more versatility in the cleave options and make the meta just way more favorable for them. Because right now it's too easy to remove the core options for cleave and make it way less playable. So yeah, that's me really excited. And I'm actually very positively looking at both these units. I think they on a glance look both very good. I would obviously suggest never go all in without people like me or your other content creators or whales testing them for you. I'm personally going to be testing Ninfoniel first, since I'm obviously not a cleave player. Batsby is not for me. So I will tomorrow at 17 UTC +2 do a pull stream for, I'm going to try and P5 Ninfoniel myself. Pull one copy of Batsby just to have him. And then I will also be pulling for my good friend Glix, who has a mega account, and he's gonna try and max both as well. So do be sure to turn in for that. I am very excited to see how they shake up the meta. That's all for me. Thanks for watching and have a good one.